You know, it's interesting lately. I'm watching this show, right, and people are talking about like in the '70s, early '70s, and like we got home from school, we went out, blah, blah, blah. And '80s was quite similar, right? Us children can just do whatever. But it was funny because I look back at it, and everybody thinks that each their own generation is the best generation ever. And I don't know how that's carefully inculcated to us somehow when we're children. Now that starts to go into stuff that's another video, right? Like programming. It's called programming. And if you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, that's fine, but obviously you don't know psychology and what studies they've done and have applied it against us. And they have for a long, long time. But here's the thing, like, okay, so like my generation, right? Gen X, the 80s, we're supposed to be the wave of the future and do a bunch of shit. Well, you know what? A lot of them are dead and the other ones are just following in our parents' footsteps. They didn't do shit, all right? For one. And two is like, oh, we're the greatest generation ever and we're the last generation that could go out and, just I was like, yeah, I have a totally different take on the 80s, man. First I was dealing with satanic panic. But other than that, looking back on it, this was the thing. Our parents were like, you get home and get out. Get out. Don't come back until the streetlights come on. So, honestly, it's like, yeah, our parents just obviously didn't want us around. I mean, what else can you think about that? Just get out of here. We don't want to deal with you. It's called neglect, people. God. It's fucking hilarious. But hey, I'll go through the programming stuff later because like all this nostalgia going on. I'll touch on it a little bit here. All the nostalgia going on, especially the 80s. It's carefully calculated to target the Gen Xers that are still alive, like my age. I'm reaching 50 now. So just when our parents were reaching 50, they did the same thing. It's the same pattern. So somehow I've been able to break out of certain areas and planes and programming, and it kind of stinks because what do you do without that programming that they've been feeding you for years and years and years? Well, whatever, but it's funny. It's like, and I can never understand it. It's like, oh, why should I be proud of myself because I was born at a certain time, which I had no control over? I'm gonna be proud of a country I'm born in because I was born unbeknownst to myself and I should be a loyal why? I can't figure that one out. Seriously, it's like, okay, so if you're born unbeknownst to you at a certain time, in a certain place, you're supposed to be loyal to all that somehow. Okay, have fun. See you now. Seriously, but my generation, we were supposed to be the way of the future shit. And I tell you what, man, I am highly disappointed in my generation. The ones that are still around, there's only a couple. That most of them, they're just like our parents. They just copied our parents. It's like, that's not changing things. That's just keeping things the same. Okay, whatever. It's fucking weird, but I'll get back to the programming later, but that's all I had to say tonight.